while introducing the project. This is a 1993 Ford F250 with a 5-liter in her. This truck was given to me by my father. He passed away a couple years ago. What we're going to do here is we're going to try to get this thing repaired. My wife ended up writing her off, and what I'm going to do here is put her back together. I'm going to get rid of the box completely, and I'm going to have to change out some rear suspension and whatnot. As you can see underneath, there's some leaf springs that have busted off there, as well as there's probably a bent sway bar and a couple of little minor things that should be able to fix without any problem. But we're going to get rid of the box because this massive dent here, and then we're going to see if we can't sell her, use that money to fund the next project, whatever that may be. So we might end up turning this into a zombie patrol vehicle, or or just a truck. We'll see. No major exciting plans yet, but we're going to see what's going to happen. First step is to get rid of the box. This is the first installment. We're going to get maybe some help and some other people involved, see where we go from there. Should be a fun and hopefully interesting project that doesn't take too much time or money. The thing is, we're going to try to do a budget build on this. So, wish us luck.
Yeah, but there's kind of a way around on the one side, and then there's also an alternate route to come into the other street. The other vehicle was an accident.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think it's your fault at all.
Alrighty, just a quick overview of how you take off a 90s, I guess it's pre-96 or maybe pre-97, I can't remember when they changed, but it's a Ford truck. This is an F250, nothing special, 5-liter, long box. Basically how you take the long box off, I'm going to go over it real quick here, not go into too much detail, but there's pins such as that little round thing there. I believe there's 1, 2, 3, 4 on each side of the box. Mine had 7 total because I had a hitch back here that went right through to the frame. But to take that stuff off, you gotta work on the underside. I think there's one of the holes right there, and you gotta access it somewhere from underneath here, and the same goes for the rest of them underneath the frame, and that's what they sit on. As you can see, there's a couple spacers right there and back there for the middle ones. I think that's for the, maybe it isn't, maybe that's the ones that were added on for the hitch, but anyways, you gotta undo those first for taking the box off. Second, taillights. You have to take off the taillight cover, or like the taillight assembly, take it out, and then take your wiring and jam that through there. Now there was a couple places where the wires did kind of connect to the box itself. You just gotta rip it off. I have them hanging down there now. Just out of the way, just so I can reuse them. I don't have to cut any wires or anything like that. That gets your wiring out of the way. And then onto the gas tank. There's a cover that goes on the inside of the wheel well here. There it is right there. It was a 1/2-inch nut and bolt to take it off, as well as it was attached to this kind of brace, I guess, this fender brace that was broken off. I'm taking the box off because there was a big impact here for when the missus was driving. But you also have to take this clamp off. This holds your gas line going to your front tank. I have a front and rear on here. Gotta basically undo that. I just loosened it off because it didn't seem to want to go any further. Whatever, loosen it off, take it off. That detaches your gas tank from the the box itself, as well as there's a couple 3 screws. There's 1, 2, and 3 up around the gas cap. It's the same thing for the rear. It looks like maybe the impact broke it off. There's a clamp back there, so it just kind of fell off. And once again, same thing back here. There's 1, 2, and 3 little screws that more or less keep the cap in there. Now, pretty much what you got to do is get a couple people together, or if you're manly enough, you can take it off yourself. You just rip it up, and then I'm just going to leave it in the back alley back here. I actually hope somebody steals it. But that's how you take a mid-90s Ford box off. I've got it kind of sitting crossways right at the moment now, but I got to take that off, and then get down there and start fixing some suspension. Then we're good to go. Cheers. Alright. Gas line is out of the way. I think it's out of the way, sort of back there. Maybe not. Let's do this. I'm going to try to be careful not to puncture the tank. Spills. Well, looks like we've got some washers and spacers that have fallen off in between. Okay. A little bit further. There, it's the dump box I always wanted. Okay. I gotta close the garage door somehow, so I'll get that here. Fuel lines are still intact. Still got a lot of fuel in there. see, we've got the box off. Anyways. You just basically got to manhandle it. I don't recommend doing this by yourself. If you do, make sure you have gloves. I got some decent leather work gloves here. I got some good padding so it doesn't cut through. But, big thing to look out for is when you're taking off not to cut any fuel lines. My fuel lines are fine. So I'll show you. This is more or less your fuel lines right there. Back here. When you're taking the box off, you can definitely cut these things. Now I gotta fix some suspension parts. As you can see right here, she's all bust. I think this is what's causing the misalignment of my rear end here. Is it bust right here. I don't have a clamp there anymore, so I'm gonna take it apart, drop the rear end, put some new suspension in, see if it works, see if I can get it inspected and cleared, and then I'm giving it back to the wife so she can drive it. So, either that or I might. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But this is the gist of taking a box off. I got another parts truck that I bought for $200 that has a brand new exhaust. So I'm going to take this exhaust off of here and put a brand new one on. Just different ways to save money. It looks... Oh yeah, that's the bolt I had to cut to get off there. Sometimes they come easy, sometimes they don't. But... it's kind of the way she goes sometimes. And now I just got to work on fixing that alignment issue on the rear end. Maybe change the sway bar too. We will see. I have to do a lot of figuring out here. Figure out what's wrong. And if worst case scenario, sell her or scrap. I hope I don't have to do that though, because usually they cheap out on buying it. I could list parts online, but I don't have the yard. I live in the suburbs here. As you can see, there's houses all around. I got no place to store this stuff, so that's how you take a box off of a Ford F250. See what happens next. Well, I'm thinking my only problem with my suspension here is just my driver's side, where it broke off, right at the front of this leaf spring here. As you can see, it got sheared off. This is from a mid-2000, 2002 to 2000 something, whatever, Impala that T-boned my wife, even though it was my wife's fault. But at least that's what insurance says. This was in a residential area. Like either one of them shouldn't have been driving that fast or that stupid, but whatever. Anyways, there was an accident, and I think this is my only problem regarding the reason why this wheel is out of alignment. This and maybe the sway bar. As you can see, the wheel's tilting to the slight left there. Same on the other side, and I believe it's because it's under load right now. I'm going to have to jack it up and see what she does when she's off of the weight. But as you can see, like this suspension piece right here is kind of jammed up in... Well, it's not really jammed, it's just because there's weight on it. I think that's the only thing holding it on there, to be honest, this little lip. So I'm going to be a little bit careful when I play around here not to have any fingers anywhere near there, otherwise they might get sheared off. But that, and maybe a problem with my sway bar, is the only thing that would take to fix this vehicle. That was listed as a write-off by the insurance company. I gave them $100 for the vehicle to buy it back, because I'm not completely retarded when it comes to anything mechanically wrong. But as you can see, it's sitting off-center, rear end's to the left, but the frame itself looks straight. So I think I'm going to try to source myself some leaf springs, maybe the whole package. I'll have to undo this right here and get myself some leaf springs on there. I don't know, whatever you guys think is best. I'm always up for advice when repairing or rebuilding. Just look in the back here, got technical finger size there. A little bit less on this side, so might be bent back here, or it might just be because there's weight on it. Actually, that's interesting. I totally see what's happening here. As you can see, this is lined up to the rear instead of the front, whereas on this side here, leaf spring is almost right next to the front bolt on there. So what has happened is because the front is sheared off, it's also pushed back this because there's bushings in there and it kind of rotates. That's what gives you a little bit of suspension play, I'm assuming. But I'm going to jack it up, see if I can move this whole assembly forward. If I can, might be good to go. But either way, I'm going to maybe try to replace all of this, all of that, this hanger here too. But the only annoying thing I've noticed with these is it doesn't seem to have bolts on the other side. It seems to be like it's riveted on there, which I don't want to have to go spend a ton of money on aftermarket stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the mount or not. This one as well seems to have those rivets on there, but might be hard to see. Either way, this is what a Ford F250 looks like with a bed off and a slight misalignment on the rear end. Now you're going to fix it. Okay, walkthrough video. 24mm on the front side and back side of the front leaf spring holder thingy. Come back here, I believe this was 18. This is 24, all four of these are 24. I'm going to just make a quick video shot of what it looks like. Yeah. Up here, 18mm for the shocks that are off, so you can see on both sides. 21mm down here. This is what we got to take off because this, you can't back the bolt out. So I got to work on this side. Just got the other side off. This is the other side. 21mm. Went in facing that way. There's the top part, 24mm sway bar, I believe, is also 18, and 24 up front. Okay. Okay, a bit of an update, kind of skipped a lot of the process here, but I've got the new suspension installed on the 93 F250 Ford pickup here. She's sitting out in front of the house at the moment, but got her installed. It's actually a little bit beefier than it was before. I was able to reuse the helper springs up top and get them squared away in there. It did take quite a lot of work of alignment to get everything to line up, as well as underneath there's a bolt that's dead center that goes up through that. And just for alignment purposes, it was a bit of a nightmare. Got one side on, then the other side was hard. Heads up, taking these off, especially on an older vehicle, can be difficult. They usually are rusted. My impact couldn't take them off. I had to use a pry bar the whole way. Same with this side. Also, these U-bolts, they call them U-bolts because they're shaped like a U as they go underneath. Had to cut them off my old one and just buy new ones, and it cost $11 or whatever. Not a whole big expense. Well worth it to get the good new ones. Don't have to spend hours playing around, wire brush and cleaning up threads and cans of WD-40. It all adds up anyways, so But this is essentially